For 40 days, the United States and Iran were locked in direct, escalating warfare. The human cost peaked on February 28th, when a strike on a school in Minab killed more than 160 people, most of them schoolchildren. This conflict triggered a global economic paralysis. Shipping traffic through the Strait of Hormuz hit a total bottleneck, leaving critical maritime lanes frozen and global markets stalled. On April 8th, the momentum shifted. Through a Pakistan-brokered deal, the two nations entered a 14-day ceasefire, a breakthrough President Trump immediately declared a total and complete victory for the United States. The practical effect of the truce was immediate. Within hours, the first commercial cargo ship successfully passed through the unblocked strait with Iranian permission, signaling a resumption of global trade. Global observers interpreted the reopening of the Gulf as the conclusion of the broader regional crisis. In reality, the technical limits of the truce were far more narrow. While Tehran celebrated the 14-day pause, Israeli warplanes launched a series of airstrikes across Lebanon. On the same day the Gulf hostilities halted, 89 people were killed and hundreds more injured in strikes that hit densely populated neighborhoods in Beirut. The intensity of this secondary front expanded rapidly. Israeli forces even fired warning shots that hit a vehicle belonging to Italian UNFL peacekeepers, nearly drawing international observers directly into the crossfire. This creates a paradox. Why did a peace deal between the two primary superpowers in the conflict fail to stop the worst violence in Lebanon? The deal brokered in Islamabad was a bilateral transaction. It linked Washington and Tehran together, while leaving regional allies and proxy forces, like Hezbollah in Lebanon, completely disconnected from the agreement. For the United States, the concessions were immediate: a suspension of military attacks on Iranian targets, and the promise of future relief on tariffs and sanctions. Iran's primary concession allowed shipping to resume, but they secured a new right in the process. Tehran can now charge transit fees on vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, providing a revenue stream for domestic reconstruction. The text of the deal reveals its true intent. It was designed to protect immediate economic interests and shipping lanes, intentionally omitting the complexities of regional stability. This gap in the agreement allowed for a total strategic decoupling. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office quickly clarified that the U.S.-Iran ceasefire does not include Lebanon. That stance was driven by intense domestic pressure. Opposition leader Yair Lapid publicly claimed that Netanyahu failed strategically, leaving the Iranian threat intact despite the 40 days of fighting. With the primary conflict with Iran paused, the Israeli military suddenly shifted its focus to the Lebanon front. Intensifying the campaign there offered a way to project strength to voters who were skeptical of the war's results. The de-escalation in the Gulf redirected military and political focus. For an administration under pressure to project momentum, focus shifted to the Lebanon conflict. A continued war would have triggered a $3 trillion collapse in international markets, according to projections from the IEA. This economic risk centered on industrial supply chains. The war choked off the flow of rare earth minerals, materials extracted from massive open-pit mines that are essential to the global technology sector. The threat of a $3 trillion disruption forced the superpowers to the table. In this negotiation, the necessity of protecting the global supply chain overrode any humanitarian concerns regarding the regional conflict. This leaves the region in a state of extreme fragility. Negotiators have exactly 14 days to turn this temporary halt into a permanent resolution before the clock runs out. While those 14 days determine the future of the Gulf, the military devastation in Lebanon continues without a diplomatic window in sight. Modern peace has become an a la carte transaction. Superpowers can secure their own economic lifelines while leaving the surrounding proxy battlegrounds to burn.